Time for Wallet Wednesday. And when it comes to retirement, more Americans are looking to get jet set, spend their golden years abroad, and leave the States in the rearview mirror.
So whether you're looking to just spend a lot of time traveling or retire abroad, there are some things to consider. Experts say we've seen a pretty marked increase in retirees drawing their benefits overseas in the last 3 years. But before you go escaping to that mountainside or beach, it's important to understand how to secure your finances in a foreign place. So joining us live to talk about the ins and outs of retiring overseas is Charlene Charisma, a Growth and Development Director with Northwestern Mutual Portland. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good to see you. And I think this is a really interesting topic to dig into. So I'm curious, what are some of the factors that might be driving people's decision to retire overseas? Are there some financial benefits to be had here?
So yeah, while housing, healthcare, and the overall cost of living can be cheaper in other countries, I mean, every country is different. People are seeking warmer climates, maybe gray is not their favorite weather, but mostly they're looking for economies that they could stretch their retirement savings. The U.S., the cost of living continues to climb, and Americans' confidence in their ability to afford a comfortable retirement is at a historic low. At the same time, that magic number and the retirement savings that they need is increasing to an all-time high. According to Northwestern Mutual's Planning and Progress study, U.S. adults believe that they will need just under $1.5 million to retire comfortably, which is a 15% increase from last year. And among generations closest to retirement, just under half of all boomers and Gen X believe that they will be financially prepared to retire. That means that more than half don't believe that they will have enough money. So they're looking elsewhere, and Panama and Costa Rica are some of the most favorite, with the cost of living being more than a third less than living here in Portland.
Wow. When you're talking about, retirees and fixed income, that could be a pretty huge impact.
It is so telling that half of these people don't feel like they have enough money to retire. That is just stunning to think about. And now to everyone's favorite topic, taxes. How does, going abroad or living abroad change your tax outlook?
Well, it certainly can be cheaper to live in other countries, but it's more important to look at everything. You have to look at really the entire picture, because just because the cost of living might be lower, your tax liability might be higher. And that is why meeting with a financial advisor or a qualified U.S. tax expert prior to your move is so important. As well as finding someone in your destination country who can provide insight to local taxes.
Yeah, well, absolutely, that is something to consider. And then how does that factor into when you're talking about, Social Security, other benefits, pulling from that fixed income or pulling from your savings? Are there some extra things you need to consider to be able to access that?
Yeah, so you will be happy to know that if you earn Social Security benefits, you can live in a foreign country and still often take those payments. There is a tool that you should be looking at called the Social Security Administration's Payment Abroad screen, and they can provide you some guidance. But it's very important to know that certain countries they cannot send payments to. So if you're counting on Social Security, you might want to make sure that it's in one of those countries where you can count on those payments. The other piece of that is it really depends on some of the tax treaties that the U.S. has with certain countries on whether your income will be taxed there or taxed here. Some countries like Costa Rica, Panama, Greece, Portugal, they offer something called a golden visa, which include tax breaks and protections if you move there. And maybe I'm just biased because both my parents are from Portugal and eu falo português, I speak Portuguese, but I definitely think that's a great place to retire. I've had several of my clients, actually 2 of my clients have recently retired there, and they've yet to send me any port wine, so I know it's not what we're talking about. But just know that regardless of where you are retiring, Americans can expect to continue to get their payments and investments here, but they will have some tax obligations somewhere, whether in the United States or wherever they retire.
I'll tell you what, I've been to Portugal. That would probably be one place that I'd retire in many years from now.
Sounds pretty nice.
Just voted one of the safest places to live as well.
Well, so what about, the folks who are in that boat? Maybe you're still working. Real quick, if you're still planning ahead for retirement and might want to look at living abroad, asking for a friend, what are some things that you could maybe plan ahead for to set you up for a move?
Well, so I think that there's a few things. One, if maybe you're in that pre-retirement 50, 55, and you're like, I'm not ready to turn everything off, but I'm definitely going to slow down. So maybe you're going to freelance or do some work while you're living abroad. The pandemic certainly allowed us to that to figure out we could work at other places, right? What's really, really cool is you may be eligible for something called a foreign earned income exclusion, which allows you to exclude up to $120,000 of your taxable income. That is huge. That is huge. Yeah. Another thing that you want to be looking at is basically necessary changes to your estate plan. You should be updating your will, healthcare proxies, trust, powers of attorney. Also know that healthcare in your destination country might be cheaper, but if you do have Medicare, oftentimes that's not going to cover any foreign medical services. So you really want to look at, again, the whole picture. Meet with a financial advisor. If you don't have one, go to planningwithcharlene.com or northwesternmutual.com, go get one. It is really, really important to look at your overall picture, because once you pull one lever, you're changing something else, right? So we want to make sure that good advice isn't getting canceled out by good advice when you're living in, having tax obligations in one country and living in another.
Yeah. Great advice, Charlene. Thank you so much for joining us.
You are so welcome. Have a wonderful day.
You too. And for more professional advice for all your finance needs, just head to northwesternmutual.com.
Yeah, it's interesting food for thought.